Well, hey folks, welcome back to Good Things for Good People, the little tiny YouTube channel with great big dreams of changing the world for good, one view and one viewer at a time. Today I've got a pretty special episode. I've been doing a lot of homework on this one, and it's something that a lot of folks, especially those of us who come from the automotive side of things, are probably pretty familiar with. And before I dive into that, I want to say thank you very much to our very first sponsor, the sponsor of this episode, Oh wait, nope, that's not the sponsor of this episode. That's the topic of this episode, Omaze. Many of you, as I said, are going to be familiar with this. They are in the sweepstakes world. They are in the giveaway world, and they're really kind of the genesis of what is really becoming a very popular way of making money on the internet, is doing giveaways, doing charitable things. Unfortunately, that's not actually what Omaze is about, and we're going to get into it here in just a second. I am going to be using some visual aids today. I have a dollar bill to be able to visualize a little bit of what I'm talking about. Before we go too deep into that, I want to go back up a little bit and do a little bit of background into Omaze. Now, Omaze has been around for a little bit over a decade. They were founded in California, and they were the brainchild of two gentlemen that met in college who wanted to be able to make money, right? That's the whole idea. They wanted to be able to make money. And they had seen charitable organizations around them being able to fundraise and make money for different charities and causes and things for a long period of time. Now, both of those gentlemen were already in kind of the showbiz area. They were already connected to celebrities and that kind of thing. And they decided that we could start something like this and be able to give away celebrity connections and experiences and be able to do it through a fundraising platform. So that's really the brainchild of Omaze. And it started out with giving away a judgeship on Cupcake Wars, which I've never seen. I don't know whether or not you've seen it or not, but it raised about $800, so it wasn't a resounding success, but it was a proof of concept. And at that point in time, those gentlemen had some fundraising that went on as far as internally goes, some investment that happened, and they had folks that believed in the process and they believed in how it was going to go, so they put money into the Omaze project. At that point in time, those two gentlemen also saw some very, very obvious examples of fundraising that was very profitable. And unfortunately here in the United States, that usually means politics is involved. So they saw some political stuff that was able to raise quite a bit more money than what the initial experience or the initial thing was originally valued at, and that really got the ball rolling. They'd seen some sports people do it as well, and so they decided, heck, we could do this. Now, their first couple of things were really about doing experiences where you would have, a wine tasting with a celebrity, or you'd go to a movie premiere with a celebrity, or whatever the case may be. And the way they did this is they do it as a sweepstakes. You buy entries into the sweepstakes, and when you buy entries, whether it's $10 or $100, your entries scale based on what it is you spend. Now, there can also be some modifiers that are involved in that, where if you have like a 2x modifier or something along those lines, where you're getting more entries into this sweepstakes. Now, the way they can get away with this not being called a lottery is you can enter the sweepstakes for free. So you can go on their website and you can submit all your information and you get 2,000 entries for free. 2,000 entries for free. That way they're not considered a lottery because lotteries fall into a whole bunch of illegal things. So that's the idea, is to be able to sell the experience, but instead of selling the experience, you are raising money off of the experience. And that actually worked out pretty well for them. They did a lot of that stuff, but it wasn't something that did massive growth. It wasn't something that really got a lot of attention. There's only so many people who want to hang out with Shaq or do a wine tasting with J-Lo. But the way that worked was Omaze would take 15% off the top of the donation. So if you donated $100, they'd take 15% off the top, so $15 is gone right off the top. They then have the expenses as far as whatever the package costs, whatever it is that you're going to be doing, that's cut off the top. And then the next piece that's left is what actually gets donated to whatever the charity or the cause is, which typically tended to be about 60%, which isn't fantastic, but it's actually not terrible. And as they went through things, that kind of tended to keep to keep working. They were making their 15 to 20% profit plus whatever their expenses were for the venture or the celebrity endorsement or whatever, and then it just kept on rolling. Where things got on my radar is when they got into the world of cars and vehicles, and they got into the idea of we could do this same kind of thing, but to a much larger audience that's interested in doing this, and we could do it on places like Instagram, where you're going to get a large amount of people that are going to be interested that will click a link and buy some entries. And this is where things get interesting to me. So let's say that they wanted to start out with a Porsche Boxster. Maybe they found one that's been modified, it's really nice looking, but they could get a really good deal on it, and they bought it for $50,000. What they will then do is they will put that up as the sweepstakes grand prize, right? And then typically speaking, they will also attach some cash to that to be able to maybe help pay for some of the taxes that you're going to be accruing because you have a item that you have taken in. And the U.S. federal government is very interested in getting their tax dollars. So if you win one of these things, you do owe taxes that are going to be attached to said thing as if you purchased said thing. So they will give you some cash as well to be able to help you pay for that. Now, the way that it works with a item or a piece, a car, for instance, is they still take their cut. They take their 15 to 20% off right off the top. They then have the expenses of the vehicle the administrative costs, plus whatever extra cost they have as far as shipping, and any of the marketing, the paying celebrities to pitch the product, all of that stuff. That's all bundled up into one big thing as far as the actual costs of running the thing, which is typically around 70%. 70% of what it is. Then the remaining little bit that goes back to this charity goes to the charity. So let me go to my magical dollar here, and I want to show you how this plays out. All right, so here's my magical dollar here. So Omaze takes their 20%. Then you have all of this left. However, you've got to deal with buying the product, shipping the product, marketing the product, everything else that's involved with running it. So all of this disappears. And you have what's basically that. So 15% of whatever they raise goes to charity. Now, obviously, that can scale based on how much money they bring in, right? If you bring in more money, you can give away more money, but they can also profit more money. Omaze is not a non-profit. They are not a charity company. They were a for-profit company. And the idea was they would utilize the giving nature of people and the, honestly, desire for all of us to have a little bit of escapism and dream about, what would be, that we all are kind of guilty of. Those of us who live in the U.S. especially are very familiar with how the lottery works. You buy a ticket, you've got some numbers, you've got an absolutely miserable chance of winning something, but you might be able to win hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's going to be transformative. That's going to be life transformative. A lot of us will fantasize about what it is that I would do if I won that blah, blah, blah prize, if it's Mega Millions or the state lotto or whatever. There's some escapism there. There's some mental relaxation where you go through that process. And the Omaze thing really plays on a lot of that. And they utilize celebrity endorsements to be able to kind of drum up that interest. And yeah, those endorsements are paid for. Those people are paid to endorse the Omaze product. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I know several people who have endorsed the Omaze products. And it's done well for them, so good for them. That you got to get paid for what it is you do. But I think the where things really kind of fell through the cracks was a lot of people really assumed that this was really for fundraising, that this was really for charity. And honestly, it really wasn't. What it was a way to make money and do flashy things and improve their image and also donating a little bit of money to charity. Now, the argument can certainly be made that 15% of something is better than 90% of nothing. Or if you want to look at it a different way, 15% of a really big pie is better than 90% of a slice of pie, maybe. And I guess that's true. And I'm happy that they were making money for charities. They donated to UNICEF and a bunch of other different things. And that's great. I'm glad to see that. But the problem you have is the fact that most people, the image that they courted was, we're doing this as a charity type of thing. And that's not really what they were doing. What they were using was the charity side of things to be able to generate profit for a for-profit company. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think a lot of people kind of expected that maybe it's the costs, and then most of the money, the lion's share, goes to whatever the cause is of that particular sweepstakes or giveaway. And that's just honestly not how it worked out. So in the UK, they also did this with houses a lot as well, where they were giving away houses to people. And you would do the same thing where you'd buy into the sweepstakes, and then they would give away a house. Well, it turns out that didn't always go out quite as well as hoped. And they've been in some legal trouble over the years about whether or not some of this is rigged or whether or not it's not rigged, or people can't afford to get the houses that they're being given because the taxes are so high. So then they win a house, but then they have to sell the house because they can't pay for the house, or the house is on a cliff and it's not probably going to be safe to live in. So the value of the house isn't really what the value. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that's involved in it. If you're interested in going deeper into it, you certainly can. There's a lot out there, but a lot of people now are seeing more and more of these things come online. And I spent a few hours scrolling through my own feed, even just on Instagram, and there are a lot of companies that are following that Omaze platform. And they're following that process for a reason, because it works. Omaze brought in more than $100 million in that period of time. Now, how much of that went to charity? How much of that became administrative costs? How much of that went directly into the Omaze coffers as profit? We don't know, because it's not a publicly traded company. It's a privately held institution, so who knows? But the proof of concept is there. The proof that it works is there. So you have all of these other little groups that have spun off that are doing the same thing, and I can go into in depth with some of those guys as well if it's something you guys want to see in the future. But it's definitely not going away. It's proven that there is an appetite for this, that people are interested in getting involved in these sweepstakes and having a chance to maybe win whatever it is, whether it's a Subaru WRX or a twin turbo Lamborghini or whatever. And we just all need to understand the fact that those are not actually charities. Those are businesses that are using that kind of charitable look to be able to bring revenue in. And yes, they do give money to charities. Yes, there is a donation involved in that. But it's probably not what you're thinking. It's probably not nearly as much money as you would hope. The biggest problem that I have with it is what I would consider opportunity cost. Let's say you have $100 again. It's in your pocket. You got $100 and you're going to do anything you want to with that $100. Well, you could give that money to Omaze and buy some points in the sweepstakes and be able to maybe win a car. And then whatever is left goes to some charity, whatever it is they decided they're going to be the charity for that day. Or you could give it to something that's an established charity, like actual charity, like a Red Cross or something, just for instance. Because you only have your $100. You can only give it here or you can only give it there. You don't have the opportunity to give it to both places. So if you give it to these guys over here, you cannot give anything to these guys over here. So all that will come through that wash is maybe 15%. Versus if you just right off the rip gave it to that established charity that has transparency and has public accounting, and you can see what their administrative costs are. You can see how much money is being donated and going to actual charitable work. Now, whether or not that charity is above board is a whole nother conversation, and we can get into that at another time. But the money is much more quickly funneled directly into whatever that good cause was. And I think that's really where my problem is a lot of people go into it saying, well, I made my donation to charity. Well, I mean, did you though? Not really. Not really. You bought a lottery ticket. You bought a scratch-off. Because a scratch-off ticket, the lottery was designed to be able to give money to schools, to educations. So when you buy a lottery ticket, do you feel like you're making a donation to schools? I sure as heck don't. When I buy a lottery ticket, I'm buying a lottery ticket, man. I'm going to win the millions, man. It's going to change my life. I'm buying an island. You know, I don't even think about the fact that the money's going to go help kids learn about stuff. Neil deGrasse Tyson actually had a kind of a hilarious little bit of tongue-in-cheek about this, about the fact that lotteries actually are counter supporting statistics in public schools. And it was a tongue-in-cheek, I believe it was a tongue-in-cheek comment about that, because they don't. You know, there's no public schools that are out there like removing statistics and that kind of thing from public education, although there's a whole lot we could talk about public education. But what it comes down to is the fact that people who understand statistics don't play the lottery. People who understand statistics don't buy into sweepstakes where they have an absolutely hilariously minuscule attempt to be able to win anything. You know, it's the adage that the lottery is a tax on the poor has been a thing for a very, very long time, because, you know, most rich people don't play the lottery. It's people that are looking for a little bit of escapism or some kind of ability to leave the status and the level that they are that buy into the lottery. Consequently, it's also those people that usually are the least capable of being able to spend money on something like that. Same thing with smoking, if you're honest. Most of the people who smoke are usually a lower income people that are a lower asset class of people versus the richer people that don't smoke. So that $10 to $15 to $20 a day, depending on where you live now, for a pack of cigarettes can be a considerable amount of money depending on what your income level is. And that's, I think, where the big problem that I have with the whole process was the fact that everybody was kind of like, oh, well, I'm doing a charity thing, I'm doing a good deed. And yeah, you're really not. You're buying a lottery ticket. Even though it's not considered a lottery, you're buying a lotto ticket. You're buying a scratch off. You're crossing your fingers. You're getting out your lucky penny. And you're hoping you win that Lamborghini. You're hoping you win that fistful of money so you can afford that Lamborghini. And then who knows what you're going to do with it. Probably sell it and get the cash. Which is also why a lot of these places will show you have the opportunity to either take the Lamborghini or cash, which is an option. So anyway, folks, that's it. That's the Omaze story that I wanted to share with you. It's not all doom and gloom. You know, they have raised money for charity. They have done some good things. As I said, there was money that went to UNICEF and a number of other different charities. And as I said at the very beginning of this, it seems at this point in time that Omaze itself as an entity is not really still doing anything. They've kind of shuttered up shop. If you go on their website now, there's nothing that's available as far as a car goes. There's nothing as far as a vacation or an excursion goes, or excuse me, their adventures. And it seems like things have pretty well shut down. Now, what that's from, I don't know. I'm not going to get involved in that. That's not my department. But what you can definitely see also is the fact that it has spawned an entire new generation of people who will use charity or use the image of charity to be able to make a profit. And that's extremely counter to what I want to do with this project. This is Good Things for Good People. The whole idea with this project is I want to be able to generate money off of YouTube, off of your views, to be able to do good things for good people. YouTube already has all of the mechanisms in place for us to be able to do that. You watch ads on a YouTube video. When you click on a video, you get ad rolls. Those ad rolls pay the bills. They pay YouTube and they pay the creator. There's a split that happens between YouTube getting their chunk and the creator gets their chunk, but the creator gets paid for every time you click on a video, every time you watch an ad. Now that's based on a lot of different things as far as how much money is being made based on the type of content and the type of viewership that's on that channel. But the content creator is going to be making money. In this case, me and this channel. What I'm going to do with the revenue that comes into this channel is we're going to be able to use it to be able to do charitable things, to be able to do philanthropic things, to be able to give away money and not require you to buy anything. You don't have to buy sweepstakes tickets. You don't have to buy a t-shirt to get entered into a thing. There's a whole nother world that I can go into as far as the whole merchandising giveaway thing that I can talk about if you guys are interested in. But that's not what I want to do here. What I want to do is I just want to use the video revenue that we make off of these videos, which can be a considerable sum of money. We're talking thousands or tens of thousands of dollars a month to be able to improve the lives of other people. That's it. I'm not looking to do this to enrich myself. I'm not looking to this to make myself seem like a cooler person or a more philanthropic person or a more giving person. That's not what this is about. What I'm trying to do here is very, very simple. We're going to be able to use your video watch time, create revenue, do good things for good people. That's it. If you're interested in it and you've never been here before, click on that subscribe button. We're always glad to have you here. If you're here still and you haven't clicked on that like button, please click on the like button. Also, by the way, YouTube added a thing that when I mention that like button, I don't know if I gave it enough time, but the little button actually lights up down below. Isn't that nifty? Same thing with the subscribe button. If I say it might have just done it. I don't know. It lights up. So that's exciting. If you've been here before, thank you very much for supporting the project. I do truly appreciate you. The core group of people that have been watching these videos over the last 70 plus days have been a fantastic proof of concept to me that there are people out there that are interested in this, that want to see this grow, that want to see this succeed, and we've done a dang good job of it so far. Now, I do want to go into the analytics just real quick because I haven't talked about them, and we've had a couple of good days, so give me just a quick second. I'm going to pull up some analytics, and I'll let you go about your rest of your day. First thing I want to celebrate is 682 subscribers. Well done, us. Go team. That's awesome. This is the last video I put up, which is the solar EV charger out of Where. If you haven't watched that yet, it's actually kind of funny and kind of entertaining, but it's totally not normally what I normally would shoot here. It's in third place. It's got 155 views, which is cool. It's got a 4.1 click-through rate, which is whatever. Average watch time is horrible because it's only like a less than 5-minute video. But if we go into the analytics, you're going to see what I want to focus on. We're going to ignore this day. Is this huge day here. 5,163 views. Check that out. Watch time. Excuse me. Watch time. There we go. 64.4 hours of watch time. Woohoo! That's awesome. Subscribers? 12 subscribers. That's pretty good. Good job, us. Unfortunately, most of those watch hours don't count for anything because most of them came off of a short that got 4,000 views. And most of those views don't count for anything because they came off that same short. So, you know, let's celebrate the win. Let's celebrate the fact the channel grew and we got a lot of clicks on a short. Yay. Unfortunately, the viewership is not really going to count, but it looks nice on the analytics. You will then see that there's a precipitous drop here onto yesterday where we only ended up getting 650 views. And our watch time was 14.6 hours, which is pretty dang low. But this is because there was not a video that went up yesterday. I had some ideas and I had some things that I wanted to talk about, and I ended up not putting out a video because it's a little political, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I ended up not doing anything, and you can see how that drops off when I don't put out a video for the day. As far as how the channel is going towards monetization, if we look here, you can see we are at 682 subscribers. We are right at 1,700 public watch hours, which we need to get to 4,000 public watch hours in order for this channel to get monetized. So we're not quite halfway there, but we're closing in on halfway there. That's it, folks. That's the day. That's the video for today. I'm going to put this up and let this run during the day, and we're going to see whether or not doing a video, kind of a morning lunchtime video, does better versus an evening video. This whole thing is a project in motion. We don't know what's going to work, what type of video is going to work, what time the video is going to work, how length the video is going to work. We don't know. Don't know the answer to that. So we're kind of experimenting. That's the neat thing with us being able to control this thing, is we can try stuff, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, let's try something different till it does work. So thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate you. I got a bunch of things that I got to get done today. I hope you have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you later on. Take care. Bye-bye. Wouldn't you much rather see this go to charity than this? I know I would.